following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is Talkin Cowboys. Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
Handoff, Elliott plowing to the goal line. Barry, sacked by Lawrence. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
Here are Mickey Spagnola, Brian Broaddus, Rob Phillips, and Bill Jones.
And it's time for another edition of Talkin Cowboys on a Tuesday here at the Star in Frisco, Texas, home of your Dallas Cowboys. After a rookie minicamp over the weekend, and then reality hits this week as the rookies join the veterans, and then next week we've got OTAs, and on it goes. And before you know it, we'll be in Oxnard, California. Right, guys?
Yeah, that's the way it usually works.
Are you going?
I am going. Are you going to Hawaii?
I hope so.
I buried the lead there. Okay. Yeah. Before you know it, we'll be in Honolulu.
Yes. There you go.
There you go. All right. We had a big weekend and had an opportunity for the first time to check out this rookie class. And the coaches, more importantly, had a chance to work with them on the field at Ford Center here at the Star in Frisco. And we got a lot to get to over the course of the next hour. We invite your phone calls. Kent Garrison here to take your calls. And any of these rookies that you might have a question about, give us a holler. And we've got three experts in the room, Brian Broaddus, Rob Phillips, and Mickey Spagnola, who can tell you exactly what they saw over the weekend.
Can I just give Brian quick props for finding a way to write 800 words on 2 separate days about these practices, which, I mean, hey, it's great to see guys back on the field doing stuff, but it's not live action. It's not offense, defense. That took some work by you.
Well, you're just going on movement.
Yeah.
You're going on athletic ability. You're going on guys that maybe there were some things that I think, for the example, with Chris Westery, the cornerback I'd never seen him live.
Boy, wow.
So 6'4.5".
Long.
Yeah, I was interested to see how well he could really turn, and I knew that we would see that. I knew that Chris Richard and Greg Jackson, those guys would pedal these guys and turn them and break them and stuff like that. So it kind of gives you a little bit of idea of some of the things that these guys are going to have to work on as we get going here. Mitch Hyder was another one. Mitch Hyder's film probably
Hyatt.
Hyatt.
Yep.
What did I say? Hyatt.
You're thinking Kerry Hyder.
Yeah,
Kerry Hyder.
Sounded like you're from the East Coast, putting an ER on everything.
Yeah, Hyder.
Pizza.
Hyatt. But anyway,
Pizza. Am I right?
The thing is, though, with him, you can see some slow-footedness with him. A little bit, some things that he's going to have to work on.
See why he was undrafted.
Well, I think there's some more questions about his strength, but you do see some things that you would say, okay, I need to keep an eye on this. As they're doing athletic things, you want to be able to kind of keep an eye on, okay, have they improved on this, or is this something? I think very early in the campaign last year, we thought, okay, Connor Williams, and we've talked about it a bunch on the show, Connor Williams lacks strength. We saw that, and it was something that kind of was throughout the season that he had to develop. So these are just little things that you can pick up when you're watching stuff.
And comparing Mitch Hyatt and Connor Williams, okay? Mm-hmm. Look at the age of both of them. Okay?
21?
Well, Hyatt turned 22 on February 6th.
Right.
Very young, especially considering the fact he's a 4-year starter at Clemson, had over 50 starts at Clemson. And Connor Williams, I've got down, he turned 22, what's the date today? He turned
May
22
14th,
2 days ago.
Yeah.
And you know what? One off season in the weight room did him wonders.
Yeah.
Because if you've seen him now.
Mickey and I saw him at the training table yesterday. Much different looking guy.
Yeah.
And
he's got shoulders, a back, and arms.
The word out of the team, what I heard was star of the offseason. The work he's doing in the program right now.
Yeah, he knew he had to do something.
Yeah.
And good for him.
Connor McGovern turns 22 on November 3rd. I mean, remember the time when offensive linemen coming out? Now, Tyron Smith is an exception because he was 20 when he came out.
Sure.
But when they were 24 years old, and you can't, and you couldn't even start in this league until you're 23, 24 years old.
Well, you had to learn how to hold, trip, and clip.
There you go.
That's what you kind of, and once you learn how to do that, then they would put you in the lineup.
Right.
Yeah.
So speaking of Westry, I saw him standing straight up, and I think he was scratching his knees. He's got arms that go forever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I thought I was 6'4", and then I'm kind of looking up at him. Yes, I mean it was like talking to Rico in the locker room. I mean, and maybe he just seems taller because you're thinking the whole time this guy plays cornguard. I mean, really?
Yeah, that's just going to be the great experiment.
Durant.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. It's funny when they're going to get when our guy Jordan Lewis stands amongst all the trees.
Yeah.
He's again, it's all those guys because this is a good-looking group of cornerbacks when you talk about length and how tall they are and stuff like that. So this is the plan of action for Chris Richard, and we're going to see if a 6'4.5" corner can really play. That's what we're going to see.
I thought one of the guys that changed my impression on him was Tony Pollard. Just the talk of him about everybody describing what he was like, and he was going to be the next Lance Dunbar. The guy's 6 foot, 209, and he was a lot bigger than I anticipated to see. I mean, he looked like a regular running back more so than
played like a regular running back,
gadget guy.
Well, like in person, just talking to him, he doesn't. Yeah, not just on the field. He just standing next to him. He's a good sized running back. And he's a bigger running back than Mike Weber, which I think just hearing about what they did in college, you get the misconception, okay, Mike Weber is more of a traditional running back. He's probably a bigger, stouter running back. Mike Weber was standing pretty much at Zeke's locker over the weekend, and I'm used to talking to Zeke at that spot. Noticeably smaller than Zeke Elliott. And Pollard's, like Mickey said, about 6 foot, 210, something like that.
Yep.
Decent size.
And Weber's listed 5'10", 211, so he's 2 inches shorter. Yeah. And speaking of Mike Weber, what do we know about Mike Weber's situation? Is he had an MRI on his knee?
I didn't hear anything.
Haven't heard the results.
I talked to some people, and they said that they felt like that everything was going to be okay. He was actually out there Sunday watching practice, so it wasn't like he wasn't laid up or anything like that in the training room. He was on the field, not doing anything, but he was on the field watching.
And I believe he jogged back out onto the field late in that first practice. So I don't think they think it's something serious.
And Todd Archer's got something this morning. He won't have surgery at this time on a sore right knee that required an MRI. Hope is rest and rehab will help, but there is a possibility of needing a scope, and then you have to go to their website, which takes time to get over there.
Yeah.
I didn't see him working with the conditioning guys yesterday.
No.
I might have missed him, but I didn't see him out there.
So pull back the curtain. What are the rookies doing now this week here? We had the rookie minicamp, and so they just go right in with the off-season program with the vets.
No,
they don't.
They have their own session.
They have their own session.
In the afternoon.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. In their own locker room.
In their own
locker room.
Yeah.
Which we're not allowed to go in.
So can they catch a glimpse of a veteran, maybe in the hallway?
I'm sure they're running. They're in meetings and stuff together, right?
Yeah.
They just don't work out together. That's the thing.
The veterans work out in the morning, and then they come in as the afternoon.
So then next week. So this is the orientation continues for the rookies this week, and then next week when OTAs start next Tuesday, that's when.
Well, they got to try and do the best they can to get these kids in the best shape they can, because again, the problem that they're running into is they're behind what we've seen with the captains' workouts and stuff like that. So if there's not going to be any. They're going to get thrown in the deep end of the pool next week, and there's going to be a lot of learning. I mean, they don't slow down for vets, and they're surely not going to slow down for rookies.
They're sort of treating them like this is their start.
Yeah.
Like yesterday was their start of strength and conditioning.
Yeah.
It's better than what it was, right?
Ton better.
Because before they'd come in
There'd
3
be
days
7
after
people
the
on
draft.
the injured list by the time we start this. Yeah.
But you'd have rookie minicamp the following weekend after the draft. They'd basically 4 or 5 days after the draft, they'd be on campus. They'd be here for 3 days, then they'd go back their own separate ways, and then they'd come back a week or so later.
Right.
And they had no opportunity. This way, they can they can go right in, transition into the NFL, basically.
Well, at least they know the drills they're going to see when they get to minicamp.
And the college stuff is all over with, so forth.
Right.
Yep.
And basically, that's all we saw during the mini camp was a bunch of drills, technique stuff. I don't even know if at one point, I didn't know if the wide receivers were ever going to touch a ball.
Yeah,
they did.
You know,
They did.
Sanjay with his step by step on the routes, and
They did some stuff in team period where they threw the ball to the receivers a little bit.
And
but it was skeleton team, right?
Yeah.
You know, that's how John Wooden coached his boys back in the day.
Step by step?
Well, first you teach them how to put the uniform on.
Right.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I've read that book. And you can watch, where guys are lining up a little bit. Connor McGovern getting work at center, although we're talking about a 30-man camp over the weekend. And Mark Colombo told us he was there. They're planning to kind of work him at two spots. But you're looking at what your third-round pick is doing, and he's lining up at center right now.
Yeah, it shouldn't have been a problem. He did it at Penn State, so he's comfortable with that stuff.
Somebody had to snap the ball.
Yep.
Exactly. I mean, it's smaller sample size.
So you like what you're seeing at offensive lineman on the depth chart now at offensive line.
The depth is fine. That the guys that they signed. I'll tell you what. Now I was impressed with the kid from Indiana, Brandon Knight, is who I was impressed with. As far as if you look at the mobility and things like that he was able to do, I thought he was really athletic. And when you go through those drills. Who's the guy, again, the foot quickness, who's the guy that has the lateral slide, who's the guy that can, get off the ball and all. But again,
he's a tackle.
And he's a tackle.
6'4", 314.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're playing him at the right tackle spot too. So Mark Colombo said it too in the preseason. The whole idea is to have the best offensive line you can have, so you can evaluate your team. These running backs, your quarterbacks, your receivers. So you don't need your quarterback running around all over the place. So hopefully they got a good group of offensive linemen that can stay healthy throughout training camp, and then when they get in these preseason games, then we can evaluate them. But they also help evaluate the other positions by how well they play.
I liked Rob's Aggie, the safety.
Yep.
Donovan Wilson.
Yeah.
He's faster than I anticipated seeing, and he moves. He's got good feet. He moves awfully well. As a matter of fact, when they were doing their little skeleton drills, they had him lined up at times in the slot.
He appeared to be the one guy that was getting the most. When they were shifting the formation again, they were just using managers and coaches to shift to give him looks with the front and in the backs, and he was the one guy that had to do the most adjustment. And just watching him, he was the one that was able to communicate quickly to the others what was happening.
He's an older guy. He's 24 years old. Right?
Yeah.
And he had an injury what would have been his junior year at A&M in 2017. Mm-hmm. Came back, had a strong year. But really, when you look physically at him, compare him with the fifth-round cornerback Mike Jackson is actually larger than Donovan Wilson.
It's a good-looking group of guys. And like I said, when they were out there stretching, and then they get into their team or to their individual periods, as they're going through the drills, it's a very uniform-looking group with the exception of Westry is much taller, but as far as there's length there. Looks like they're guys that have a little range to them in the way they were playing, and so I think that's clearly a plan that Will McClay and this coaching staff wanted to go with.
Your guy, Donovan Olumbo, was eligible for this camp. He was out there at corner, and Wilson was technically the safety in camp over the weekend. The rest of the guys were corners that Chris Richard and who's our guy? Your old teammate, safeties coach. Greg Jackson was coaching.
Yeah.
Another guy that stood out to me, Jalen Jelks.
Yeah.
Defensive end.
Me too.
7th-round pick. Just a physically imposing guy. 6'5". He's got great size. He's in the 250s. He doesn't have a ton of weight on him. But he's a twitchy guy rushing off the edge.
Yeah, I think Rob's right there. What I noticed about him is when they put two guys next to each other, say, for example, Jackson, the defensive end from Miami that they drafted.
Joe Jackson.
Yeah, I was trying to see, okay, who was able, when they had these drills where they bring them off the ball and then they move them to either left or right or move them straight up the field. I was looking at guys who could plant their foot and get lateral the fastest. And by far, when you're comparing two guys right next to each other, there's always going to be one guy that's going to put his foot in the ground and then be gone. And that was Jelks. He was consistent throughout of being the guy that was able to put his foot in the ground, turn, or to open his hips, turn, and then get out and get down the line of scrimmage. And I thought that was impressive. If you get a guy that can react that quick, I think that you see why he's got some pass rush skills, because of his ability to turn, open, and then go.
Did you
for a 7th round pick, he moved awfully well.
Yeah.
They do that drill where they run through the blocking dummies and have to slap them with one arm and then go the other way and slap again. And he got around those dummies awfully well for a 7th round pick.
And we haven't even mentioned the 2nd round pick yet, Tristan Hill. But you can see him with the feet for a man his size. I mean, you can see why he's got the traits that Rod likes in an under tackle.
Yep.
And he works hard now.
Yeah.
He does do that.
I mean, he was, first one in line, and he was moving. I mean, he was hustling, and I would imagine Marinelli took note of that.
And there's another one who's a very young guy, Tristan Hill.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he just turned 21. Back on the defensive ends for just a second. We'll come back to Tristan Hill. In your pre-draft stuff, looking at Jalen Jelks, they had the other defensive end at Oregon, Justin Hollins.
Yeah, he was more of a linebacker.
Yeah.
They played him like as a stand-up linebacker. But Jelks was a guy that you could see he would put his hand on the ground as a rusher, but then they also put him they reduced him down to play some defensive tackle in the nickel, and he was able to play double teams. It was kind of neat to watch him. They do a drill where where Leon Lett and Andre Gerard they fight pressure. It's like you take on a double team and then the pressure goes away and then you're supposed to react to the pressure. Well, Jelks is very comfortable doing that because he's had the ability. I mean, sometimes you put a guy down inside like that, and he has no idea how to feel. And he had that. He was able when Andre moved away, then he was able to chase quickly down inside and stuff. So, yeah, those are things that you want to do. If he could play some rush end and then also potentially help you at some nickel tackle stuff and handle the inside run stuff, playing that way. That's a good thing at 250-something pounds.
And kind of to your point, Mickey, Justin Hollins, who is from Arlington Martin High School, he was drafted by Denver in the 5th round.
Yeah.
And Jelks had just as much production at Oregon as what Hollins did. Hollins was on the opposite side of Myles Garrett at Arlington Martin High School.
Right.
Imagine that.
No, and
high school
this kid played as a stand-up outside linebacker.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, Rod Marinelli asked me, he said, "Hey, would do me a favor and watch this Hollins kid and tell me if you think he can put his hand down." And I was saying, Coach, I think he's more of a stand-up outside linebacker. Thin-built guy, but he's got some pass rush skill. But he's like, "Do you think he could put his hand down?" And I came back with no. I think Jelks on the other side's a better player when it comes to
That's why I was asking about
pass rusher.
I figured you were looking at the other guy, too.
Yeah, looking at both those guys, yeah.
So interesting. There's a 7th rounder to keep an eye on as we go forward here in Jalen Jelks. And then Tristan Hill, the other part that we get on this rookie weekend is we get an opportunity to talk to the players in the locker room and get a feel for what their personalities are like. And you can really tell Tristan Hill is a likable guy.
Yeah. Oh, no, absolutely. And you know what? And a lot, what I noticed about, and I'm not going to say every one of them, it seemed to be a pretty confident group. When you talk to guys, they weren't like mealy mouth. They spoke. I think
that's big.
The cornerback from Miami, Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson.
Yeah, boy, he's ready to go.
Hey, he played at the U.
Yeah, right. And he fit right in. And the other guy from the U, Joe Jackson, he looks like a bad man. I mean, he's built. I mean, he's big.
They were surprised he was still on the board when they picked.
I was surprised at some of these guys that,
Strange draft. Really strange draft. A lot of people people locked into these defensive linemen that or these players, and they said, we're going to, like I say, a offensive lineman gets drafted from Sioux Falls before maybe a guy that's been on a 2-time national championship team. It's a 4-year starter. It's kind of a weird deal for a lot of these teams. They fall in love with guys, they fall in love with traits, and feel like that they need to make a make that pick there. But yeah, you're talking to some folks. They were really, really surprised that Joe Jackson was there from Miami. There's a lot of good things to like about him. And Miami was a little bit of an up and down team. They started off pretty well. Were highly ranked. LSU took them to the mat out here. But things, they kind of pulled things together, but at the end didn't finish well. So maybe that's why people kind of got turned off by these guys a little bit.
Larry Allen Jr. spoke more in one session than his dad did the whole time he was here.
His entire career.
And very appreciative of the opportunity. And but yeah, he spoke well. I mean, He's graduating from Harvard. Okay?
If Brian said, he's winning regardless.
Yeah, he's winning. He's winning because he's going to get the degree from a place that, and get an opportunity. He's got a great background for what he studied, and he can go in and do a job. If he were to make a practice squad, that would be a huge victory for him.
Right.
Yeah.
He is battling for one of the 10 spots, and with all these other offensive linemen, I don't think they're going to be able to keep all these guys. So if somehow, some way he makes the 10, then he's probably beaten out a couple of guys. He's probably beaten out Puna and Knight and somebody else, so maybe Hyatt to be on that spot.
So the correct pronunciation is Derek Puna?
I think it's Puna. Puny. Is it not Puny?
It's certainly not
so.
puny. You don't want a puny offensive
puny.
line.
Very cute.
Puny.
Oh, okay. How about on that dad joke note, let's come back in a moment, and we've got some scouting news we need to get into, and Talking Cowboys continues in a moment.
Your new apartment's big. Such a great deal.
It's okay.
Just okay? What's not to...
Right above the subway!
Well, I bet you don't even notice it after the...
That's my neighbor, Angus.
A deal that's just okay is not okay. Get a great deal with America's Best Network. Come into an AT&T store and learn how to buy one smartphone and get a second one on us. Based on GWS One score, September 2018.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with sideline access and photo ops with current players, alumni, and cheerleaders. That's not all, though. You'll get to talk X's and O's with Senior Director of Player Personnel Will McClay, and of course with yours truly, me, Brian Broaddus. You can trust the official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and with us, you'll travel like a pro. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
Essilor has been helping Cowboys fans see better since 1972 so they don't miss a moment on the field. Get glasses with Essilor's best vision, clarity, and protection with the Essilor Ultimate Lens Package. 3 innovative technologies in one lens. For a limited time, you can double your lenses for free when you purchase the Essilor Ultimate Lens Package and get a second pair of frames. Find a participating eye care professional and details by visiting EssilorUSA.com. That's EssilorUSA.com. Terms and conditions apply.
A man's Stetson doesn't just protect him from life's elements. It projects an unstoppable and legendary spirit, just like the men wearing silver and navy on the field every Sunday. Since 1865, Stetson hats are American-made with pride right here in Texas. They are still the official crown of all self-respecting cowboys. And Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find Stetson hats in the Pro Shop or at Stetson.com today.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
That would be me.
Yeah, it would be you today.
It's you.
All right.
Bill just staring at me
Don't
over
miss
here.
your chance to see the Cowboys live at AT&T Stadium this season. You won't want to miss these exciting matchups with the Giants, the Eagles. Hey, the Giants and Eagles are coming here this year. So are the Redskins, the Packers, the Rams, and more. Come to Arlington. Get your tickets now at DallasCowboys.com. That'll be good. Yeah. Packers and Rams both here this year.
First place schedule.
It is. And let's get into some scouting news because the Cowboys have lost some scouts that, and these guys, the ones that I know, really good guys. Something about scouts. They just seem to be good guys.
Decent human beings at times.
That's right. At times.
Yeah, at times.
Which one would you like to start with?
I'd like to start with Tom Siskowski.
There you go.
Yeah, I think that Tom, Tom was nice enough to come by, say he was moving on. Tom had a hell of a run here with the Cowboys. Got an opportunity to Well, the most famous thing he's probably done is drafting or helping to draft Larry Allen. We were talking about Larry Allen Jr. Well, here's Larry Allen, his dad. Tom was a big part of that. Tom, West Coast scout, did a heck of a job. Then got to sit in the big chair for a little bit too. And that's not an easy thing to do here. And Will McClay has done a great job. Larry Lacewell was my old boss. I thought did a nice job as well. But it's not an easy thing to do. And I'm happy that Tom's one of those guys that feels like he's got a bigger calling somewhere else. Tom's a deeply religious man, and when you talk to him, he always talks about his faith and how important it is to him. And he didn't want to waste any more time. He wants to go out and try and help some people if he can. And so, by all means, I'm glad that he's going to be able to do that. He was a great guy to work with. I loved being around him. He's always had a positive attitude. He was always great to argue with about players and discuss players. And I wish him the very best. I consider him a really, really good friend because of all the things that we were able to do. And we didn't always accomplish great things together, but I'll always respect the way he handled his job. Very professional in the way he went about his business.
Been here since 1992.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of almost my entire career covering the Cowboys. He's been in that scouting department. And and I think the thing that I don't know if people knew that, but he coached for 15 years before he ever came to the Cowboys, and had been at places like Arizona State and Oklahoma State.
Pawhuska, Oklahoma.
Yeah,
he's from Medford, Oklahoma.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
was at Oklahoma State with Tony Wise and Jimmy Johnson, and
East
ended
Central
up at
in
University of
Oklahoma.
Miami with Butch Davis and UNLV. So he's been around, and when he stopped to tell me that he was retiring, he said he was just kind of tired of it, and he wanted to have fun, and he wasn't sure that it was still fun. And he's been several different roles here: a area scout, a Blesto scout, senior personnel exec, I think was his last title, but 5-6 years as the scouting director, college scouting director. So he's wore a lot of hats for this organization. And the good thing about Tom, to me, he was always a straight shooter. He would tell you what he thought, maybe to a fault in some circles in the organization, but he was a straight shooter. And I'm gonna miss seeing him.
He was always a trusted voice in that room for many, many years, as you guys said. He stood on the table for Larry Allen,
Sure
you
did.
said, Brian. And one of my memories of Tom, he's always really good to me as long as I've been here. But being in the Seattle press box, 2005 preseason opener, they just drafted DeMarcus Ware, and he had a big voice in bringing DeMarcus Ware here
Sure
too.
did.
And I
Sure
remember
did.
Ware had just a monster opener there. I think he had a sack strip, fumble, and he's just pumping his fists in the press box, which you don't see that often because it's mostly media in there. But, I mean, that's validating, a really important pick that they had. And this is a guy that's going to go on to be a Hall of Famer too, probably.
I'm looking at his bio here, and then we're talking about Tom Siskowski here, who is retiring after many years as a scout with the Cowboys, going all the way back to 1992. But, he was at Oklahoma State, worked with Tony Wise, the offensive line coach at Oklahoma State at the time, who, of course, later became the Cowboys offensive line coach. And then he was at Wichita State. And then after that season at Wichita State in '84, he went to the University of Miami as a volunteer assistant coach, working with Butch Davis, who was the defensive line coach at the U at that time. You think about that decision for him. He goes, okay, I'm going to work as a volunteer coach at the University of Miami. And then a few years later, what happens? Of course, Jimmy Johnson gets hired in Dallas with the Cowboys. And so 5 years basically after he made that decision, he joins the scouting department with the Cowboys, which turns into basically 30 years with the Cowboys.
Absolutely.
I mean, sometimes you have to take a chance on things.
You do,
It's
especially
a
in
great
that
lesson.
especially in that profession. You got it. Sometimes you got to do a job you don't. Some of the great success stories are about these head coaches now that started off doing something that was, you're like, really? You were a high school coach that, and next thing you know, they're head coach and of a very successful program.
And then 2 scouts have moved on to the Oakland Raiders, Jim Abrams and then Walter Juliff after 31 years with the Cowboys, 35 in the NFL as a scout.
I'm shocked that he's leaving the state of Texas because he's been here his whole life.
From San Angelo State University.
San Angelo, and then, coached high school for a while and then became a scout. And he's been here since '88.
Nobody is as hard on Texas players as Walter Juliff. It's impossible to get you. See how many Texas players have been drafted here.
That's a good point.
Because Walter was one of those guys.
He knows their warts.
Yeah, he would. It could be Ricky Williams. It could be. It didn't matter. Sean Rogers. It didn't matter. He would fight you on these kids. I mean, fight you on them. And the thing about Walter, and I think with Walter, is that I said this on Twitter last night. Someone asked me about Walter moving on. Why would he move? These pensions now that we deal with, and the years of service that we deal with, and there's certain things that you can get. The way the league takes your 3 best years of earnings as a front office member, and so he gets paid very well for 3 years, say with the Raiders. Then those will be the 3 years that the league takes and averages out for him. So,
and he's going to be the college scouting director, right?
I think Jim Abrams is that guy already.
Oh, I thought that's what Walter was going to be.
Jim's a damn good scout too. He came from that 49er group that was, that back in the day with Bill Walsh and that bunch. And Jim will do a fine job with the Raiders. I've always enjoyed visiting with him, but yeah, Walter's another one of those guys that we didn't have a whole lot of success with him. Walter was a guy that worked underneath Larry Lacewell. He was one of those guys. Walter always was everywhere. I've never been on a school call where everybody in the country knows Walter Juliff. Mm-hmm. Walter Juliff can go into any college program and somebody there will know Walter Juliff. And that's a credit to him lasting this long and what he has been able to accomplish. I'm happy for him that he's going to get the opportunity as we get to the later points in life where you have to think about, okay, how am I going to set myself up at the end of this? And he is, in fact, he's going to do it the right way here with the Raiders. Again, sorry to lose him, but they'll find a way to replace him and get somebody else in here that can help him out.
I think he just wanted to live in Vegas.
Well, the beauty of it for him, he can still live in Austin. I mean, he'll still live in Austin.
He's not going to leave Austin.
Exactly. Yeah. But was it a year from now they go on to Vegas?
Yeah, another year.
Yeah. So,
Walter, it'll be funny to see him walking around the combine in the Senior Bowl with a different color hat on.
That's going to be weird.
It's going to be really weird. But Walter's been he's a guy that's. He's had his ups and downs. We all have had our ups and downs. And, again, he's a guy that will battle tooth and nail for players, and I think that's the thing you have to respect about him the most.
All right, let's go to the phone lines. Let's go to Brunlow in Bermuda here on Talkin' Cowboys.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
How you guys doing?
Excellent, thank you.
Great.
Good. Okay, I've got a question for you. With the success that the Cowboys are having with the offensive line, Malik Collins is going to be a free agent next year. You drafted McGregor, the center.
You mean you're talking about Lyle Collins?
You're talking about Lyle Collins, right? Lyle Collins?
Yes, Lyle Collins is going to be a free agent next year.
Right.
If with him likely to sign a huge contract as a free agent, we're likely to get a third-round pick, right, in the compensatory thing.
You would hope, yes.
If a team a playoff team loses a left tackle, would the Cowboys be in a position to trade Collins for a first-round pick in return with the depth now that we have? Is that a possibility? Instead of waiting for next year to get a third-round compensatory pick, we can get a first-round pick and then move Connor Williams to tackle, and the other corner will play at guard. Okay. And I also like to thank Brian and his team for an outstanding draft coverage.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. It's very kind of you to say that. One of my favorite countries in the world, by the way, Bermuda.
Right behind this one for me.
Oh, my gosh, what a beautiful place.
Yep.
To me, okay, this is where I think he's going. He's trying to figure out a way maybe you get in a situation like the Cowboys did with having to get with Amari Cooper. Maybe it's a team that is saying, you know what, we we'll give a first round pick for. I think that's your best avenue if you want to make that move. I think that I don't know if it's a trade that happens. I don't know if it's a trade that happens early, but maybe it's one that if you did it, it would probably have to materialize maybe a week or two into the season, and then you kind of figure things out.
Yeah, we've gotten a lot of questions from fans asking, like, okay, if you think Lyle might leave in free agency next year, do you go ahead and start giving Connor Williams reps at tackle and all that, which to this point, there hasn't been an indication that they're going to do that at this point.
We'll see at the OTAs.
We'll see.
Do you want to win?
Are you yelling at me or are you yelling at
like just throwing it out there? Do you want to win? Are you going to make all these changes on the offensive line for next year?
What I'm just trying to. How does the team feel about Lyle Collins?
I'm just trying to answer the man's questions.
I think they like.
No, that's what I was asking him though. Do you want to win or do you want to stack up draft choices?
Of course, he wants to win.
I think they like Lyle Collins a lot. I do think at some point you got to start looking at your roster and like how many guys can we pay. And will we be able to keep him a year from now? I don't think it's that they don't like Lyle Collins. I think it's just something. And McGovern pick, I don't think was made with that in mind. I think it was that whole blinking light thing. But by the way, this guy offers a lot of depth. Travis Frederick is coming off a pretty serious illness. Can't hurt to add to a position of strength.
Would you take a 1 right now for Lyle Collins?
Oh, heck yes.
Okay.
But no, ask me the other question. Would I give up a 1 for Lyle Collins?
I
would not.
I didn't think anybody
because he's becoming a free agent.
I didn't think anybody. Well, but look what happened with Cooper. I mean, look at that you're even having to pay that. You get one to
Cooper,
pay.
You had another year,
$13 million.
Yeah, but
and
you
then
still
now
had him under control.
Another year.
You had another year under control.
No, it's not.
No, because he's not a first round pick. You don't have the 5th year option.
He's a free agent next year.
I understand that, but I'm just saying though that you're having to pay both guys anyway, right? I mean, if you're trading for him, you're going to try and keep him, right? Your intent probably is to pay him. Am I right?
Yeah.
You're not going to trade him.
You're not going to trade him. That's the reason.
Yes,
that's
absolutely
right. And tackles are hard, very, very hard to come by.
But you just said you'd give a first. You personally would take a first.
I would take it.
You would take it,
but I wouldn't give it.
Okay, Okay, let's look at the Cowboys angle here, and that's what I think Rob is trying to do here.
I wouldn't take it.
You just asked if we're trying to win.
Yeah, I just asked, are you trying to win? Because now you're going to have somebody playing right tackle.
But you just said you would take a 1.
You'll take a first round.
Well, yeah, I would, but I wouldn't do it.
You're riding the fence now.
What does that mean?
I would take it.
Exactly.
If somebody offered me a first for him, you'd
have to shuffle the line anyway.
But how is that going to affect what I'm trying to win this year?
Here's the difference
because you're
on the
talking
Amari
about
Cooper.
You're going to just slide a rookie in at left guard and a second-year guy.
You just said you take a
who
1.
Hasn't played. I wouldn't do it.
Okay. I'm trying to figure this out.
Here's the difference. The reason the Raiders traded Amari Cooper, what was the Raiders' record when they traded Amari Cooper? They were going down the tubes.
They were not good.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so if the Cowboys are in the same position, I'm saving Mickey.
Thank you.
If the Cowboys are in the same position,
but his question was the question of the I think the line the question was you're not going to be able to re-sign him. That's the question. Not if you're going down the tubes. The question was, you're not going to be able to resign him, and would you take a pick right now?
But I think Mickey is now backtracking, saying, wait a second, I would not take if I was in the Raiders' position with the Cooper, if I'm going down the tubes leading up to the trade deadline, sure, I'm taking a 1 for Lyle Collins. Sure,
yeah, if you're trying to line up and go win the Super Bowl, I want Lyle Collins on my team.
But who in their right mind would give up a 1?
I don't know. It's just a hypothetical.
As Brian said, if there is a team who really likes Lyle Collins and maybe they've had discussions with his agent, they know they can sign him long term, that is the opportunity to get your tackle.
This team took a lot of grief for giving up a 1 for Amari Cooper. Would you have done that? I think we did some shows where you said you wouldn't have done that.
I said I'd give up a 2nd.
Okay. See?
And by the way,
they gave up a 1.
Yeah.
Stephen Jones told us last week they have gotten calls from teams asking about certain spots, and he went on to say that we love our offensive line depth, so maybe you can connect the dots there, and they're not willing to do anything right now, but they do have a lot of depth there. As Brian said, all these guys that they're bringing in, these rookies, like not all of them are going to make the team. All of a sudden, you've got a 3rd-round pick who you love. You got Joe Looney as a nice interior backup guy, assuming Travis is going to be good to go. And Travis has said, I need to get into training camp and put the pads on and see where I'm at. I will say this. Every time we always talk about how much depth there is at a spot, depth is fleeting.
That's right.
Things happen. Who knew what would happen to Travis last year? And give him so much credit for working his way back. But you just never know what's going to happen.
Who's the one player you have that has some value on your roster right now if you could trade?
The one player, like from a position of depth and
just who is that guy?
Well, there's a lot of them in terms of trade value.
Guys,
there's
no value.
There's Kent with
no value there. No value with Lewis. I mean, who else you willing to move? I mean, to get something significant. I mean, a second round pick, maybe
that you'd be willing to move.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know that there is, because now that you're past the draft, I mean, I'm actually understand a little bit what Mickey's saying. Like, now that the draft's over, now you're getting picks for next year when you're going to try to win a Super Bowl. Like, what does that really help you right now?
If you feel good about your depth and you know you're not going to re-sign the guy.
What do you know about your depth on the offensive line?
Well, you know that Connor Williams can play. I've seen Connor Williams play tackle at a high level.
I think they think he can do it eventually.
That would be the only reason
he's going to get ready.
The coaches
in 2020,
have some knowledge.
In 2020, he's going to be your right tackle.
Yeah, I mean, if the
what
coaches
if Travis
feel
Frederick is not playing football? Who's playing center?
Okay.
Well, then the kid you drafted from Penn State.
Well, then who's playing guard?
Well, then Joe Looney could play, or Joe Looney. Joe Looney played 16 weeks for you last year.
Suddenly, my offensive line that was considered the best offensive line in the National Football League at one point, let me finish, is no longer, is just average.
I think the only
it's
way...
average on one move?
No, you've made 2 moves, 3 moves. If Frederick can't play, you trade Collins, and now you've got to put a rookie at left guard. You got to put a second-year guy at right tackle, and now you're back with Looney at center. You going to win with that?
But you'd take the first-round pick, though.
He would.
No.
If you could keep him and take the first-round pick.
If I was 3-5 at the halfway point, I might consider it.
I got you.
I'll do what?
See, I think the only way that the Cowboys
But you're asking me if I would do it today?
I'm with you. I wouldn't do it either.
I'm
trying to line up,
but
and
I
win
don't have the knowledge that the Cowboys coaches have about those offensive linemen. And if the Cowboys coaches think that Connor Williams is a better right tackle than Lyle Collins is, and that Connor McGovern can go in and play and start at left guard for you, then I still hesitate because of what Rob's talking about. Injuries happen in this league.
And Fleming, too.
Fleming and Suafilo as a backup.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
I'm just saying there's depth, Mickey. I'm just saying there's depth.
Fleming might not make this team.
But that's the beauty of the third round compensation is getting the compensation, too.
You like Fleming?
They signed him to a 2-year deal.
I know they did.
They went 2-0 with him at left tackle.
Absolutely.
With the tight end in his back pocket. Almost every play.
I don't know.
Well, okay. Go try that.
Okay.
They might have to next year.
He was so good, New England said, we don't need to sign him.
Guy played a Super Bowl, Mickey.
I know he did. It's the miracle.
Stop it.
Wow.
Okay, we're going to continue with Talking Cowboys, and we're going to find out who else Mickey may or may not take a first-round draft pick for in a moment.
It can be hard to find the right resource for learning about important financial matters. You search how to build savings, you end up reading about the one weird ingredient from supermarkets that can make you taller. That's why Bank of America built BetterMoneyHabits.com, a safe little corner of the internet for answering your financial questions. Full of simple videos and tips, Better Money Habits can show you how to make the most of your money without resorting to random searches that always seem to lead to unbelievable photos of childhood stars grown up. To learn more, visit BetterMoneyHabits.com.
It's time for tailgating with the OtterBox boys.
The OtterBox that builds those crazy protective phone cases?
Yup, and now they're changing the side dish game with the OtterBox Trooper Soft Cooler. Lightweight, mobile, and leak-proof, Trooper is perfect for blitzing a crowded parking lot with a Frito pie.
Amazing. Hey, you think I could fit my 7-layer salmon salad into the Trooper cooler?
Yup, but please don't.
And that's been Tailgating with the OtterBox boys. Learn more about the Trooper Soft Coolers at OtterBox.com.
While a player can look good on paper, it's when he's out on the field that you really find out what he's made of. That's why the Cowboys rely on more than just stats and scouting reports when building their team.
When picking a tractor, it's why you should rely on more than just specs and features. You've got to take it out and put it to the test. The Cowboys did when they named John Deere their official tractor. Experience one for yourself. Visit myjohndeeredealer.com/football.
Dr. Pepper is the one you crave. But how do you explain that craving?
Imagine a surging river of ice-cold Dr. Pepper, roaring with carbonated mists of desire. You're dangling above it, upside down, like a fishing lure in the wind. 23 flavors tickle your nose, but the river is too far away to taste. Dr. Pepper calls to you. You.
Now that is a Dr. Pepper craving. Dr. Pepper, the one you crave.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Well, there's some Jack Black for you right there if you go to getjackblack.com. Well, I got another code you can use, Pick 6. And the offer is now available. You have your new picks for Pick 6. You get free deluxe samples, plus, check this out, a free can cooler. And all you have to do is spend $75 on some of their items, and then you get the sample size Pick 6. And that you get if you use the code Pick 6. Go to getjackblack.com.
And do you have to use the number 6, or do you spell out 6?
You use the number 6.
Pick 6.
Pick 6.
Okay.
Right. Is that like one of those lottery tickets you can buy? Scratch-offs?
Yeah.
That's Texas Lottery will do that read here next week, probably.
That will join the rotation coming up.
That will be
Pick
part of
six.
Coming up soon.
Pick 6 is a football reference, but sure.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Kent.
I didn't know if Mickey got that. I wanted to clarify.
No, we're good.
I thought it was Texas Lottery scratch off.
As again,
You got to pick 6.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Boom.
Just clarify.
Is that horse racing? Can you pick 6?
I wish I could have the other day.
We haven't seen a lot of pick 6s around here.
Byron Jones, the last one, I believe, in Washington in the rain, maybe?
Yeah.
Didn't it end that game?
Man, that's a long time ago.
Sounds right.
Was it 2 years ago? He's playing safety? 3 years ago? 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
Jalen Smith was a fumble return, right?
You want to trade?
Yes.
You want to trade him?
You want to win?
Who, Byron Jones or
You
Jalen
want a
Smith?
damn win?
He's in the last year of his contract.
Byron Jones?
Yeah.
Well, he's coming off a hip procedure.
Looks
isn't
good
he?
walking around, though.
He does?
So I'm walking
Okay.
around there. He's fine. Yeah,
Very good.
Be good.
All right, let's go to Trey in Mississippi up next on Talking Cowboys. Hello, Trey.
Hi, how you guys doing today?
Good.
All right, let me start off by saying I love listening to you guys, and I learned so much from y'all. I have 2 things that I want to talk about. The first thing is offensive speed. I can't remember a time when we've had so much offensive speed on that side of the ball, even going back to the Miles Austin days and days of those sorts. We've never had multiple receivers that were sub 4.4 guys, if I can remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
My next thing is Jeff Heath. I don't think he's as much of a weak link as a lot of people talk about.
Okay.
People remember that hustle play he made against Oakland.
Saved the
knocked
game.
That ball out right before the goal line. A lot of safeties aren't making that play or even putting in that effort. Also, if Aaron Rodgers drops that ball on that sack in the playoffs, we're thinking about Jeff Heath in a whole different light.
Yep.
So I'm going to hang up and just listen to what you guys think. Thank you.
He's been this team's interception leader for the past 4 or 5 years. He makes plays.
Evidently, the coaching staff agrees with you on your assessment of Jeff Heath.
Yeah,
they were in no hurry to move on from him.
No, that'll be for this draft. We'll think about the day they had all those safeties sitting there, and they said, you know what, we're okay with Woods and Heath and Frazier and Aloka, and they picked a kid. They picked the Wilson kid. We'll see if he can come in and help. Maybe Wilson is a better version of Kayvon Frazier, or we'll see. That's kind of where I think this thing is going to go. I myself have always been a big Jeff Heath fan because I think you have to have a safety that plays with toughness. I think you have to have a safety that plays with some intelligence, and I think he does both of those. Is there some things he's physically limited at? Yeah, I do think there's some things there. But overall, though, Jeff Heath does not kill you as bad as Cowboy Nation wants to believe. And we'll see. Again, Mickey brought up Donovan Wilson's name early in this campaign. We'll see how well he plays once we get to Oxnard and the pads come on, and see if he can play with intelligence and toughness and all that. And maybe they found him one there.
Which was the fastest wide receiver core the Cowboys have ever had.
That was a good point by the caller.
I got a proposal for you, but I'll let y'all.
Well,
one
of them's got to include Bob Hayes, right?
Yeah,
I think you start there.
But wasn't there like a with the Alexander Wright group? What was that?
Yeah, but he wasn't a very good receiver.
Well, I'm just saying the fastest. He said the fastest core of guys. Yeah,
fastest group of wide receivers.
But Michael
was not fast.
But so Michael brings him down.
Who else was there? Was Harper in that group though?
Not till 91.
So Alexander Wright was 89, wasn't he?
He was
second round pick in 90.
Yeah,
okay,
second round pick in 90.
Yeah,
after Emmett.
Did Rocket and Joey Galloway play together?
That might be a situation there.
Early 2000s?
Yep. They do, because Galloway got hurt in 90. Rocket got
2000 season. They
90.
They played together, yeah.
But Joey got hurt in 2000,
but he got
right?
hurt the first game.
Yeah.
I don't know that they played in 2001 together.
Yeah.
99 to 2001 was Rockets' time here. So
they would have played
in that
together
time,
in 2001.
Terry Glenn offered a lot of speed.
And Terry Glenn
when he was here.
With Austin, right?
With Austin. I don't know if Miles wasn't a starter back then.
Yeah, because Austin was a free agent in 07.
Terry's last year was
06, and then didn't play until,
It's a good point,
we'll
see.
I propose 1971 when the receiving, let's go 1970 because Hayes didn't do anything in 71.
Yeah, but he was still fast.
Yeah. Well, now that I look at it, I
mean, because Drew wasn't a burner.
Oh, I'm sorry. No. Hayes did a lot. Okay, never mind. 71, which was a Super Bowl season, your top two wide receivers were Bob Hayes and Lance Allworth.
Allworth, right.
But Allworth,
okay, I had to look it up. Allworth was a track star running the 100 and 220-yard dashes in 9.6 seconds and 21.2 seconds,
at
respectively.
Arkansas?
Yes.
Okay.
At Arkansas. So that qualifies him as fast.
I'm out of this conversation.
That's true.
So there you go.
I think Bob Hayes counts as two.
Yeah, that's right.
Olympic speed.
Well, you had to get a second one with him, and then Bambi is good enough for me.
Absolutely.
So there you go.
And so with this group, the two rookie free agents they added can run.
You wrote about Jalen Guyton
and John Vea Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them, I don't think either one of them went to the combine, but on their pro days,
4.39, 4.37.
I was going to say sub 4.4. So
4.39.
Jalen Guyton faster than Kyler Murray. They were teammates in high school at Allen.
I knew you were going to somehow tie this together.
Caught 2,000 yards worth of passes from Kyler Murray and Allen.
On 3 state championship teams.
So those guys can
then
run.
He went to Notre Dame, and then not sure what happened after that, but wound up at North Texas. And that guy can talk. We ran an interview with him last night on CBS 11, and that guy's got personality on him, Jalen Guyton.
Yes.
And then you talk about the confidence.
Yeah.
He's got a load of confidence, too.
Yeah.
So,
and
now we'll see if he can play.
Played at North Texas these last 2 years, and he could be a sleeper in that group.
Yeah, both guys had, 6th round grades on their board. So, right there, you're looking for the traits. And what's the traits? The ability to run. But you watch Guyton play, and then I had a lot of chance to watch the Johnson play at Toledo. Toledo had like 3 receivers that you had to study. A
couple of Johnsons.
You really had to study those guys because they did a nice job. I'll tell you the thing that was impressed about Guyton was that ability. Like, he caught a lot of inside routes, breaking routes, and the next thing you know, as he's catching that ball, he is up the field. I mean, he is accelerating, and I think that's going to be his way of making this football team. Somebody's going to have to come in here, and I don't know if we've talked about this. Maybe this is for another show, another day, but of all these wide, and we did a mailbag question about that today. That's kind of why I brought it up.
How that group's going to shake out.
Yeah, how that group is going to shake out. Because you'd like to think that maybe experience will help these guys, but man, the talent of these two kids, of Johnson and Guyton, might put a veteran wide receiver or two. I'm thinking about a veteran guy like Lance Lenore. I mean, veteran in a way who's been here for 2-3 years, kind of a thing.
And when we went through it on the mailbag, and you've got obviously Amari, Gallup, and Cobb, and then I think they kept 6 pretty much throughout the season last year.
Might have to keep 7.
Alan Hearns is coming off a major injury. Just keep in mind, though, he's a steady presence there for them because coaches love him. He's a vet. He plays all 3 positions. If he can get back healthy. Noah Brown has taken steps as a wide receiver, and he helps on special teams. They like him. But again, these guys are going to be in competition. So Cedric Wilson was a draft pick last year.
And you know what? Don't go to sleep on Devin Smith.
Another guy.
Yeah.
Another guy
He can run.
Former second-round pick.
That was a guy at Ohio State that was a track champion in the state of Ohio.
About speed right there.
A lot of competition.
Maybe not Bob Hayes or Lance Allworth speed, but there's a lot of speed there.
So somebody at the end of that deal, they're not going to be here.
We didn't even mention Tavon Austin.
Yeah.
There's some speed.
Yeah.
If they use it the right way.
All right, let's go back to Mississippi. It's amazing how many Cowboys fans are in Mississippi. Chris in Mississippi.
Chris
you're
is
up
getting
next.
out of his car.
Hey, how are y'all doing? Actually, I'm driving down the road.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go,
I'm
Chris.
a truck driver.
Oh, hey.
All right.
Be safe out there.
I've got 2 questions for y'all. One on just a general topic. The other one's for Brian brought us, and then I have a comment.
Okay.
All right.
I want to say this. I want to ask a question. When I've never heard it, and I've never even seen anybody suggest that Dak said that he wants to be the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. I think that he deserves to be a pretty good quarterback, to be a pretty good paid quarterback because of what he's done on the field. And the other question is Brian, I know it's early and this, that, and the other, but you're an LSU fan. I want you to watch this Mississippi State defense again this next year. We have some really, really, really good players.
You always have good defensive players. I get tired of seeing that. I get tired of hearing them damn cowbells when we play down there. Yeah, no,
We probably have one of the better linebackers in the SEC this year.
Oh, no, you guys.
People don't know that.
Yeah.
What's his name?
His name is Earl Thompson Jr.
Earl Thompson Jr.
He is going to be a very, very high draft pick because he is very smart, very physical, and a very good player.
Bill has started a new page in the Green Notebook.
That's right. Earl Thompson Jr. is my first entry in the Big Green Notebook.
I'm glad that was for Brian.
Now,
by the
did
way.
you have another comment you wanted to make? Because we're up against the clock, and we'll address your other stuff here.
I heard exactly what you said about Jeff Heath, and I want to caution Cowboy fans in one thing. Remember that we're paying big money to some of these other people.
Yeah.
Jeff Heath is a very serviceable option for what money we can probably pay him compared to what we can pay somebody else for the rest of his career. And people need to think about that. I mean, we get a big name safety, we're going to have to pay him big money or he's going to be gone.
And Jeff Heath is on a 4-year, $7.7 million deal that expires this year.
Yeah, there's a wise man driving that truck.
That's right. But Chris, I think someone is at those truck stops is feeding you a line about Dak wanting to be the highest paid quarterback.
No,
in the NFL.
he said he hadn't heard it.
Oh, he hasn't seen it. I thought you said you had.
Right, because Dak hasn't spoken on it one bit.
Very good. Yeah.
As a matter of fact.
Yeah. Yeah, he's right about Mississippi State. My gosh, I was watching that film last year. The rush in, the defensive tackle. I mean, the safety. That's a defense. The defense was not the problem at Mississippi State. They just needed more consistent play from the quarterback, and they would be just fine. I hate playing there. That Starkville, God bless. It's loud. It's those bells. It's fans are just all over you. It's one of those small stadiums. You kind of.
It looks kind of big from the road. I've driven by it. I haven't been in it, but I drove.
The fans are on top of you. That's the problem. God bless. Go away.
I still look at that. If you can find it on YouTube, Dak Prescott's last game.
Egg Bowl?
At Starkville, where he was walking, making the dog walk or whatever it is they call it, from the bus or from the dorm to the stadium, and there were people lined up. I mean, it looked like for a mile. There were.
Come on, Bill, that's the SEC.
No, but this was special.
This ain't the Big 12, okay?
I mean,
come on, this is the SEC. Just because you guys don't play any defense in the Big 12, that's okay. That's right. Don't worry about it.
Can you imagine the lines for Baker Mayfield or Kyler Murray?
Do we have that? Well, you're an alum.
Did anybody line up in Oklahoma?
There's been plenty of lineups in Oklahoma.
The wrong kind of lineup.
They all got a.
We need to get Switzer on the show sometime.
With the height next to it.
Have they built the statues yet for them guys?
There's got to be a statue for Dak very soon.
Should
be.
It's
coming. That's right.
I told you that story real quick if I can. I know where I would pass. But yeah, when after he left Mississippi State, scouts were going back in there and they were going, "Where are all the players? They figured out it was Dak Prescott, the one that was that team was ranked number 1 in the country for several weeks, and had to finish the way they did. And it was really a lot of it because of that quarterback.
Yep.
Because all the scouts were like, "Whoa, where are all these players? You guys are top."
And they haven't been the same since then.
Haven't been the same since.
Yep, they
You're
got
right
up to
about
number
that.
1 in the country with Dak as the quarterback.
Sure did.
All right, it'll be an OTA edition of Talkin Cowboys next Tuesday.
There you go.
On the Star.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?